everybody, and welcome to the newest indoor adventure in Taking Strahd Seriously, Part 18, which I have named Dinner with Strahd or Dinner at Castle Ravenloft, because that's where we're going today. I'm sure it's gonna be super fun. Today is August 27th, 2019, and you are loved. It is a very important thing to remember, and also an important thing to tell other people who might not necessarily watch the show. You should always let those close to you know that they are loved and that you feel like they are important. Other important things that you should remember is that we do this show Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here at twitch.tv/indooradventures. We also have a YouTube that everything goes to of the same moniker, and if you look up Indoor Adventures on anywhere that they have podcasts, you shall find us. If you are interested in supporting the show, Twitch subscriptions always help. We also have a Patreon set up where you can help us out, as well as gain access to our after show, our Discord, and I am going to be throwing up the rules for Ordstone, a game that was featured on our Monday night game on the Patreon, because I was told that it might be a good idea to do so, to get people hyped, because I am going to try and get that into an actual game by Gen Con next year. So, play the game, play test it, let me know if you feel like it's confusing or if there's anything that I need to update on the rules. It'll be cool. We also have a merch store, so if you go to bit.ly/adventure merch, you can find all sorts of cool stuff. LB's wearing a tank top that we offer. RJ's drinking out of a mug that we offer. We got a poster of Coriander and Olivia. We got sweatshirts. We got crop tops. We are going to have pants soon, so be on the lookout for pants. And I believe that is it for my spiel. So, RJ, who are you playing tonight?
Hello, everybody. I'm RJ, and I'm playing Bartholomew, the Human Ranger.
Hello, I am Silme Malreska, and I am playing... Fuck! I'm a professional. I'm LBHackEmUp, and I'm playing Silme Malreska. She is a half-elf wizard.
And I am the Indoor Adventurer, and tonight I shall be playing Kefris Bellevue, formerly a Malreska, the Mongrel Folk Barbarian, who's very excited to go to Din Din.
And I'm Danae Keener, also known as Wings, and I'm going to be playing Straud tonight. So let's get started with the recap. Last time, Bartholomew dealt with the aftermath of an attempted assassination of his father. Recruiting the help of the Hunters Guild, he investigated the scene of the crime and concluded that Lady Wachter was responsible. Meanwhile, Leo and Silme investigated Vargas Volakovich's home and found the magical source of his demise. Kefris and Irina decided to go question Glinsky the Toymaker, but found that his shop was abandoned. They returned with Glinsky's pet monkey, and together the group confronted Lady Wachter in her home, where she attacked them, and she, like Isaac before her, was quickly dispatched by Leo. Disquieted by Leo's murderous tendencies, Kefris confided in Irina and gave her the holy symbol of Ravenkind for safekeeping, as the group prepared for their visit to Castle Ravenloft. So, what all are you guys going to do in town before heading out?
Are we going to have it so that drinks happen right as we're about to leave? Because we all got drinks together at the end of last session. So is that happening now, or is that going to be happening after we've done all of our things in town?
I think getting drinks seems like a good way to send y'all off. So let me know what you do before getting drinks.
Awesome. If we are going to be going to a place this evening, I'm sure we're supposed to look the part, right?
Yes.
Yes, we have our formal clothing.
Do we? And Kefris is just covered in blood and mud and holes sticking out of his clothes from where horns grew.
You have luggage.
Kefris, we've been trying to sell it. We haven't actually sold it, but we have it. Now's the perfect time to use it.
I was wearing mine.
That was your formal clothing?
What did you expect it to be? I wasn't like a
Kefris,
high
I have
priest.
seen you in your Sunday best.
What's a Sunday?
Your
Church day.
your church day best, and that was not it. I have seen it. I can't
Alright.
believe. It's fine. We'll make do. Mabel,
Yes, Miss Silme?
can you get Kefris anything better than what he is currently wearing?
Oh, there are plenty of stores in town. We could go and have a shopping montage.
The what?
Yeah!
80s music starts playing. We're going to the mall, everybody.
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
Yeah, you can go and outfit Kefris in some nice Barovian clothes.
We're going to dinner tonight, yes?
Yes.
All right. Mabel and I will be busy for the next 4 hours.
Malariska,
Yes.
you're a Bellevue.
Yes.
Yes.
Bartholomew, tilts his head over somewhere. I would like to speak with you.
Silme scoots in.
It's about Leo.
What about Leo? Is he all right?
I don't know, but he seemed fine the last we saw him.
All
I'm
right.
speaking about his behavior.
Yes. Now, I am not blind to his behavior. I understand that he is wild with his magic, and he is unchecked, and that is something that concerns me. However, in this setting, in this moment, I don't think there's a lot that we can do about it. I think that takes honing that he needs.
You're the one who encourages him to do these things. You give him... I don't know. When he melted off Izek, you're the one saying, good job. But that's about it.
We were going to kill him anyways. Is that not true?
I know, but his attitude afterwards, where he was talking about ruling the people with an iron fist.
He's 10 years old. Any child with any amount of power is going to do that. No, look, I understand, and I agree that he needs guidance. But, I mean, I do want to take him under my wing for what I know, but there's no one here that can do that. No one here powerful enough that's good enough that can do that.
Then you're gonna have to do it sooner than later. Because at this rate, he's going to turn into another Izek. And by then, you won't be able to reach him. And the only way to do that would be with either a blade or a crossbow bolt. And I don't want that to happen to him. I don't like him in particular, but I at least want him to have a chance here in Barovia. He has a lot of power and he can help people.
Yes, he can. And he will.
All right. Just none of this now Leo thing, by the way. That was very passive.
I do not need your help in raising children. I have read all of the books on child rearing.
Reading and actually raising something are two different things.
Suppose that's true. Have you raised a child?
I've raised dogs, and I know how to get the behaviors I want out of them.
Excuse me if I don't take your parentage, your parenting skills to heart, since you live in a land where instead of trying to cure someone, you'd rather kill them.
We didn't have that option, Silme.
Yes,
Now
you
we
did.
do.
You did not look for it.
What is my uncle going to do? He's not strong enough to do the things you do. We don't have people strong enough. Leo could be someone who's strong enough.
I understand.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
Fine.
Now, is that what you're going to wear tonight? Because that is unacceptable.
No, I have my own suit.
What does it look like?
It is Barovian hunting noble armor, or clothing. It's what we wear
Noble
formal.
clothing?
Not noble, but it's formal wear.
Why don't you run it past me before you finalize? Just, this is a noble's house. If I know anything in this land, it is how to do a dinner party.
All
right.
But if you don't approve, you're stifling my tradition.
Amazing.
All right.
Was Irina there for that conversation?
If you want her to be.
I had imagined that it was Irina and Maybell helping Kefris find an article of clothing that he could wear, and then the two of them off on the side.
Excellent.
So they're having the no, it doesn't work. And then, maybe.
Kefris walks out in a maid outfit.
on.
Yeah, that one definitely.
That's
Maybell?
the one. Are you kidding? Maybell's the one that's most excited about it.
He somehow finds a little sailor's uniform. Just
Terrible. Terrible.
No.
Oh God, Kefris, no.
Let's take a joke, people.
Dinner parties are not a joke, okay?
We're gonna die tonight. We might as well laugh about it.
I don't like that.
I was gonna say, there's now a rumor going around that Bartholomew and Silme are disagreeing on parenting styles, and they don't think the relationship is gonna work.
Everyone still thinks I'm pregnant with your child.
Yep, and that's definitely a conversation that just happened.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
All right, I want everybody to describe to me what their outfits look like.
Oh my God. You
Because
guys go first.
This is that kind of game.
All right. Mine probably isn't necessarily form-fitting, mostly because I'm sure finding a tailor who's willing to make high-quality suits in Barovia, the land of plenty, is incredibly easy to find. So instead, I'm probably something that I would prefer to be a little bit more baggy, almost. If anything, more flowy, just because I do have growths and protrusions coming off of my body. So having it be a little bit more concealing and forgiving of that fact would probably do me well. I would want to have more of a flowing sleeve as well, so that way I could have my wraps on underneath. And then as far as colors go, we're probably looking at browns and greens, because colorful things like red dye is not exactly, I wouldn't think that it is very plentiful here.
Vistani, who might have them.
So, I don't know. I wouldn't want to buy Vistani clothes. They seem awfully gaudy for what I'm trying to do. So this is just almost like field workers' clothes, but I have not yet worked in the field in these, so this is good for him.
All right.
And then he was going to see if Irina would, if the scarf was long enough that she gave him, if he could put it over his left arm.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. It's a very long scarf. It's long, kind of sheer, nice blue fabric.
Ooh, yay. So yeah, I have turned that scarf into an Ilmateri cord on the left side, and then I have red ones on the right.
Nice. I like it. How's about Bartholomew?
So Bartholomew steps out, and he's replaced the poncho with this deep green tailcoat. The sleeves are rolled up to the forearms, and underneath the jacket, he has a wool white shirt and a leather vest for a three-piece sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
He adjusts a pair of leather bracers on his wrists and slicks back his hair. around his neck. His headband has been pulled down to his neck, and it's been turned into an ascot.
Ah.
And you can also see that on one hip there's a short sword, other hip crossbow, and he's tucked the silver dagger into his boot.
Very nice. Functional and formal. His scar is actually probably pretty prominent then.
Mm-hmm.
With the hair slicked back and the headband.
His hair is normally like super wild, so slicking it back was probably the best option for a neat look.
I imagine it's like Phoenix Wright, just like it's slicked back, but it's like spiky in the back.
Objection!
Porcupine head.
All right.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
You can see like where his shirt is tucked in. There's a black leather belt with the buckle has the outline of a wolf's head on it.
I like it. How do you explain this to your parents?
I'm going to step out for a while.
You're dressed awful nice for stepping out.
So, Malreska and Bellevue got an invitation to the castle. And, you don't turn down an invitation to the castle.
Your mother will kind of like walk over to you, her eyes wide, brows furrowed, and she's just going to hug you silently.
Look at it this way. It's not the worst thing to happen to me. It's just dinner.
She nods. Remember what I told you.
I will definitely try.
All right. Silme, what are you going to wear tonight?
So Silme's outfit is more in the early Victorian era as opposed to the late Victorian era. So lots of ruffles, lots of bustles. Whereas in the 1890s, it was more streamlined. She's got probably like 4 to 5 layers of fabric, like levels of lace, and then underneath there's obviously like different things that are holding it up. She seems to have a large butt in this. It's got like a big bow system on the back. It's a almost white fabric with light blue flowers on it. It's got it's up to her neck, but it's got this cut down piece of ruffle that goes all the way to the back with a little bow. Comes down, covers her arms, and has like a little fluff at the end. And she's wearing white gloves. She's wearing a sort of a lacy hat that sits on top of her head with flowers on it. Kefris would know, and her hair is like done up. It is down a little bit, just like some kind of looser curls because she's still younger and she is not wed. Kefris would know this is her dinner wear as opposed to her ball wear. This is like not as fancy as she could be, but it's definitely like a higher class, and she is wearing a corset. So Bartholomew, she is looking shapely.
Is she?
Yeah.
Nice. Do you have something prepared for Maybelle, or should I describe?
You go ahead.
All right. She is wearing a comparatively very simple gown. It is a long black dress that goes down to the wrists and down to the floor, and there is a little white collar at the top, and I think that she has a different kind of headdress that isn't necessarily like a maid's headdress, but like she's got like a little hairband that she can put in. It's very simple and understated. She is an accessory, not the main course. She's basically just there to hold your things. So, and she just wears the same shoes that she always does underneath because, she wants to be able to hike up her skirts and make a run for it if she has to.
Sensible.
Yeah. So, do we want to have any scenes at the bar before we head out?
Yes. Just while we're sitting there. So,
Can you sit in your dress?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, just checking.
There is a technique to it.
Nice.
So Silme, I mean, it's kind of like the bustle kind of goes up the back. Everything shifts up a little bit. You just kind of make like a little, you pull up the skirt a little bit and kind of sit. Anyways, sorry, I've done a lot of research.
How many hours of video?
No, this was like things I knew beforehand. Late Victorian era is my specialty. Brother, how are we going to play this in terms of Speedy and Maybell? I mean, it's easy for Maybell to be my maid, my handmaiden. Should he be a footman for us?
Look, if what Billie said was true, all old women in Barovia know who Bartholomew is.
Right.
Who's the oldest woman in Barovia?
Okay, that makes sense. But why is he coming with us? Because he is our companion, he is our guide.
Well,
Are we not lying to Strahd?
I think lying to a person who lives up in a big castle on the hill that silhouette and shadow encompass everything about this place is probably not the person that we want to be lying to.
Fair enough. Do you remember your manners, brother?
I remember them well enough. It's been a while since I've had to deal with an entire set of cutlery, but basic things. No.
Outside in, right? Outside in.
Sure.
You work outside throughout the courses inward.
What? Why not just use the same spoon and knife? You know, if there was actually a spoon that was also a fork, that would be a stellar invention.
Bartholomew holds up a spork from like a Switch Army knife.
Barovia is not such a terrible place after all. They might have
Brother?
electrum, but they have... Yes? Sorry.
You need to return to your element, please. I know that you have been at the church for a while. I know you've been away, but this is important, okay? Not only because we are meeting with a noble, but also because it's a fucking vampire.
I get
Who
that.
can kill us?
I understand that. So yes, I am going to be on my best behavior.
Right.
If you have
We'll
a
get
brush, you can address my hair on the cart right there. But
I'm sure
otherwise,
someone will.
takes his claws and just kind of rakes it through. This is as straight as we're going to get, really.
Do you want some? He like holds up this small tin of like.
Do you
It wouldn't be
have
gel.
a
It's like-
small tie?
Maybell is going to grab that tin. She's going to pull a comb out of her sleeve, like a knife, just like, and she's going to get like this wicked glint in her eyes, and she's going to set to work.
I was going to say, otherwise I could make a ponytail! And just... She just starts going for it. A lot.
I have a
comes
dog
with it.
brush if you want. It's for thicker hair.
Oh, Bartholomew, please. Have you ever had a formal dinner? Like a real formal dinner, not like the hunters are getting married.
She knows how to brush around horns.
Okay.
Good.
So Irina will come back after a long time over at the bar. She's spending a little bit longer than she really needed to, getting a pitcher of wine, and will plunk it down for all of you. And she will pour around and call for a toast. Toast
To
to friendship
friendship.
and community
And tradition.
and to coming home alive.
That one especially. Yes.
Yes.
A toast to that. And we'll drink.
Yep. That you do. anything else you guys want to do before leaving?
Irina, is there anything that you want us to find out if we have a chance while we're there? Have we told her that her brother's there?
No.
She's put together that you're going to Castle Ravenloft, but she has no idea about Ismark.
Yeah. Is there anything while we're there you'd like us to find out?
Why me?
All right. Do my best. Don't worry. If they listen to me and social graces are anything like here, like they are on the Dale Lands, we will be fine.
And if shit hits the fan, I'll make sure they come back alive.
We are coming back alive.
Of course.
She will put a hand on your shoulder and just kind of squint at you. I hope so.
I hope so as well.
That being said, if you are not back here by the morning, I am going to take this, and she's just going to kind of pat the pocket that she's put the holy symbol in, and I am going to use it for its intended purpose.
Perhaps putting that in the Lady Strahd's hand is not the best choice. I would suggest gathering a party.
I didn't say I would necessarily do it first thing in the morning. A little bit of preparations, maybe go and find your friends. That fellow with the glasses and the white hair, he seems pretty good, yes.
Yes, find...
Stetchen and
if
Leo.
we don't return, find Stetchen. Find Leo, find Arabelle, find anybody. Find Billie.
Billie.
Find
Billie.
Billie. We might know where she is. She seemed pretty attached to that whole windmill.
We're going to pass that. Maybe we should stop by for afternoon tea.
Connor!
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. All right. Yes. Know that if you don't come back, it will not be the end.
Of course.
Never will be. And when we were going to be getting on the cart, I wanted to do something, but that was about it for me anyways. If you guys are ready to cart it up. Kevris is going to stay behind just a quick bit with Irina, and he's just going to say thank you. I mean that. And then as he clasps, like kind of reaches out to clasp her hands, and when he does, he presses a letter into her hand. And then he is going to then look at her and just say, read it when we're outside of town.
All right.
And then he doubles back and hops onto the cart.
All right. Who's driving? Speedy will drive. All right. So, and everybody else is going to be in the back?
Silme takes up a whole seat with her dress.
That seems about right. All right.
Since I look the most help-ish, I will just sit up there with Speedy.
Okay. That's decent. So you guys will head off. The mists today are not as thick. They seem to actually crawl away from the road to kind of usher you towards Ravenloft. When you go by the bone grinder, you actually find that it is completely demolished. It's fallen over and is just nothing but a pile of rubble and skeletal remains of a building.
I hope Billie's okay.
Yeah, we do.
Cyber's like, what?
I saw this.
You didn't. Stetchen did.
Oh, never mind. I thought I saw this.
You had a weird dream.
Yes, it was a dream within a dream, some might say.
You might say. But yes. Station saw this when he touched Kefris whilst he was having nightmares. And later you found out that it was Morgantha who was afflicting you with those nightmares. So, out of character knowledge, it must have had something to do with it. So, you will head down the Spalik Road and reach the fork, where the path that leads east is a old cobbled path, and the path that leads south is a dirt path that Bartholomew knows leads to the village of Barovia. And he will turn the cart up the cobbled path and travel where few dare to tread. And you have to kind of go up some switchbacks and such to climb the elevation required to reach Castle Ravenloft. And you will finally arrive at the drawbridge, which has already been lowered for you. And there are there's this archway above where the drawbridge goes, and you can see gargoyles just kind of glaring down at you. And this drawbridge seems really rickety, and it goes over an open chasm that drops 1,000 feet down into a river. And so, Bartholomew, I want you to give me a animal handling check as you go over the drawbridge.
Gone forever. 14.
All right, that's good enough. The wood is old and it kind of creaks underneath you as the carriage makes its way across, and you can hear a little bit of bending and bowing and creaking as you do so, and the horses seem a little bit unnerved by this, but you are able to keep them under control as you make a controlled cross across this drawbridge. And you will see Castle Barovia, or Castle Ravenloft. God. Castle Ravenloft, which evidently has a impossible architecture. It is tall spires and a wall that surrounds the entire thing. Just this ominous, dark Gothic structure with smashed windows and stained glass, and some sputtering torches on either side of the doorway. The door is open and it is spilling a warm light from within, and you can see that there is a figure standing in the doorway, and a shadow just pours out onto the courtyard in front of him. And as you pull up next to the doorway, you will recognize this figure as Rahadin, the Chamberlain of Ravenloft, who met you outside the Death House about a week ago.
Bartholomew's gonna park, jump down, open the carriage door, help Silme out, help Maybell out.
Mm-hmm. And Rahadin makes no move to actually assist you. He just kind of watches with vague disinterest.
Silme waits to be led.
Who is taking whose arm here? Can't hear you.
I'll take my sister's arm.
Okay.
Just one hand behind my back.
Yep. Maybell will sidle up next to Bartholomew. And, yep. Just mirror Kefris. And as you approach the door, Rahadin will kind of look down at a pocket watch and snap it shut, and just kind of put his arms behind his back, say, amazing. I wasn't sure if you would actually come. You're evidently quite a hard group to pin down, prone to ignoring invitations. And Rahadin is a elf. Strangely enough, you have never seen another elf in Barovia aside from Vic, and he has a very sharp widow's peak. He's got dark shoulder-length hair and just very angular features, as he just sort of regards you with some measure of disdain.
Mm-hmm.
And as you get close to him, there's a weird buzzing in the back of your mind that is a little uncomfortable. You, as people from the Dale Lands and Barovia, would not be familiar with this, but it's very similar to like a fluorescent hum. Come from lights in maybe like a school room from your childhood.
The Netherese had inventions like that.
And he will open up the door, which is already open. He'll push it open further and welcome you into the landing. And he will just kind of walk around the four of you, just inspecting you, maybe wiping some dust off of someone's shoulder or straightening someone's ribbon, just kind of micromanaging your appearance. And he will say, "Know that you are protected for the rest of your visit to Castle Ravenloft on these conditions. You will not instigate any violence. You will not snoop around areas of the castle that you haven't been invited to. And you will each have a personal audience with Strahd. If these conditions are met, you will leave with Ismark unharmed, as promised. Please follow me." And he will lead you into the lobby, which is a very tall building, and his voice kind of echoes as he moves throughout these empty halls. There is sparse lighting, and it has started to get a little bit late, so it has gotten quite dark in the castle. But you can look up and see that there are 4 gargoyles just like perched up in the dome of the architecture of the lobby, and they just kind of glare down at you. And he just starts leading you directly left to a wide staircase and starts walking up. He isn't necessarily watching to see if you're following, but he will continue to speak. "Straud will be late in attendance, but I'm sure you'll forgive her, considering we were expecting you last night. Perhaps she would reciprocate more punctuality. You will know when she's about to arrive, as she will be preceded by her brides and consorts." And he will mount a landing and lead you up another flight of stairs. "When the time comes, you will be expected to dance, but it is not required. The dance floor is enchanted, and you will know the steps. If you have any questions, please keep them to yourselves, as I don't care. And do try to have fun." And he will mount the last set of stairs. He was moving like kind of at a hurried pace, so like it's a little bit uncomfortable trying to keep up with him. It's just barely trying to like keep from breathing too hard, as you know, like you're in a corset and basically sprinting up the stairs. And as you come up the stairs, it's Kefris and Silme, right? He turns to the hall, and he will announcing Lord and Lady Malrezka.
And
We enter.
a little bit of like a look at each other of just, yes, they have said our names, and then head forward into the hall.
And in the hall, there is an enormous crowd of various shapes and sizes, many different kinds of people. You can see hags and Mongol folk. You can see that there are scarecrows carrying little flutes of champagne on trays around. You can see humans and vampire spawn and zombies and skeletons, and just every conceivable monster in Barovia is in attendance here. And there's just a low murmur as everybody's just kind of acknowledging the arrival of the honored guests. And Speedy and Maybell are not announced, as Rahadin will just start heading back down the stairs.
Silme gives Kefris this look of like, she sees there are a bunch of people. She looks at him like, I'm underdressed. I didn't know this was a ball. And then she starts looking at faces. And then she just looks like, not terrified, but like in shock that this is the attendance. Like, how dare? Not like, I'm scared.
You're breathtaking, 69 24/7.
Love you.
So,
Speedy's gonna lean forward. Stay within eye shot, please.
Is that a zombie? Would it be rude to address them and speak to them?
Can I make a perception check to look around the room, not necessarily at the people, but at the decor?
Certainly.
Okay. What kind of party is this?
Please roll a perception check.
Oh boy, thank you for following Lartin Munn. I don't know how to read. That could have been natural 20, but a solid 8.
Solid 8.
Yeah.
All right. You're not sure what kind of party this is, but oh, hey, look, there's the punch table, and oh, there's a human there. So that's comforting. Oh, he has a shackle around his leg and a chain that just trails across the floor for hundreds and hundreds of feet and then disappears into a room.
Silme's like making eye contact with some of the monsters, and she has that look in her eye that she gets when father used to get her a new book.
Mm-hmm. You get a lot of intrigued looks, particularly from you'll see like maybe some vampire spawn ladies who are immaculately dressed. They just kind of like give you catty, like mean girl looks over the shoulders, and then wait until you walk by, and then we'll whisper to each other. You see the very similar looks from small covens of hags.
Oh, I get this all the time.
Yep.
I know how I do.
If you want to make a check to find out what sort of party this is, that could be a thing. Do it with advantage because of your noble background.
Because of my noble background.
Yes.
What am I making?
Perception or insight. One of those two. History? I don't know. Make an argument for me.
It's the same. Dirty 20.
All right. It's cocktail hour, definitely. People are still arriving, and Strahd is probably waiting somewhere for everybody that she's interested in to arrive before making her grand entrance. Mm-hmm. So basically, you're just going to have to bide your time.
Okay. Silme's going to lean over to Kefris. I want to talk to a zombie.
And he gives you the most incredulous look.
What? We're protected, and there's never going to be another chance to speak with a zombie.
Go with Maybell.
What are you going to do?
I guess also have other family members potentially here, so I'm going to introduce myself. He motions towards the mongrel folk.
Speedy's having a sidebar with Maybell. How are you doing?
Surprisingly all right. This actually isn't all that different from what we go through at home.
I mean,
sure, they look a little different, but look at me.
I would think you're one of the more normal ones here, then.
She's going to lean over to Silme and be all like, do you think I should try to blend in a little more?
Find out some information, perhaps?
Oh, I was talking about my appearance. Do you think I should?
I think we're the new toys, the outsiders. I think no matter what you do, it's going to be you're going to be new and exciting. I think if you're interested, you can be my escort as opposed to my handmaid.
She kind of gets like a mischievous glint in her eye, and you watch her pale a little bit, and you watch her horn grow, and she will take on her demonic form, and she will put out her arm and say, "As you wish, my lady."
And Silme and Mabel this is the first time Kefris and Speedy have seen this. Do you want to describe it, Badler?
Yeah, sure. Her skin is completely pale. Her horn, which is, it's exactly what I said before. Her skin is completely white, is what I should say. I think what color are her eyes? God.
I thought she was red.
She used to be red, and then she became undead.
Right. Oh, shit. Okay. I was like, I thought she could have red eyes if she's undead.
Sure. Well, we can go with that. Mm-hmm. Her eyes turn red. Her scleras turn black, which is the whites of the eyes. And her horn grows longer, and her hair turns completely white. And so now she is kind of a spooky white horned phantom in a goth black dress on Miss Silme's arm.
We're going to go mingle.
And that they do.
I look over to Kefris. Punch?
Punch is fine. Punch is good.
I can't hear you.
Punch is fine. Punch is good. That's okay.
Bartholomew will make his way over to the punch table.
All right. So you head on over to the punch table, and there are a few people just kind of meandering about it. They will, ladle themselves some punch and then wander off. There is one guy who seems to just kind of be hovering around the punch table. And this guy looks to be like an older human man. He's in kind of like old, torn, dusty clothing. And he's the guy that I described before with a shackle around his ankle. And he's just he's reached the end of his leash, and he's like trying to reach a sandwich at the end of the table, and he can't quite get to it. And he's just got he's balding, he's got longish white hair, and kind of a horseshoe mustache that connects with his sideburns. So I've heard it described as a gunslinger.
Okay.
The Mobius stash.
Is that what it is?
Strip.
Yeah, it's just one continuous strip.
I love it. Well, it's not continuous because he's balding.
Fuck.
But yes, that guy's just trying to reach the sandwich.
As Bartholomew pours out 2 cuffs, he'll surreptitiously bump into the table to make a sandwich fall.
Into his hand or away from him?
Into his hand.
Okay, all right. I'm just checking. I don't know, man. And he catches it. And he's like, "Ha! Yes, thank you." And he just kind of munches onto that, and he will pick up one of these little mugs. They're like little crystal goblets. He will pick that up and kind of scoop it into the punch, and it's just a thin red liquid. And he kind of sniffs it, and he's like, "Is there blood in here?"
I'm gonna sniff it as well.
Perception check.
Dirty 20. I can tell iron.
It's not actual blood, but it's made to taste like blood. Like there's iron supplements in there.
I'm gonna be a healthy boy.
So the guy's like, "Is there blood in here?" There might be a little blood in there. Yeah. He just downs it and fills the rest of it.
Speedy's going to nod his head, okay. Turn. If there's some people who don't have punch, he will offer it to them.
Sure.
And just nod his head to them, turn back and walk back to Kefris and go, "Punch was a bad idea."
I assumed. I got the gist of it. I'm going to try and find some mongrel folk to talk to.
Yeah, speaking of which, you see a mongrel folk holding a tray of sandwiches walk by you. Just kind of like...
He looks busy. He's working. I don't want to bother him. It's like when you see a service animal. You don't want to go over and give them pets when you're not supposed to.
That's going to be difficult because it seems like there's all of the mongrel folk that are in the castle are doing basically the same thing.
I will wait for one to be in the process of getting more sandwiches, and just say, sorry, Kefris, they announced me as Melreska. There was a mistake on the form. My last name is actually Bellevue. I was wondering, what event is going on here? Is it just for us? For visiting? Or is there something else?
Yeah. Your name is Kefris Bellevue?
And I'll kind of lower my cloak, reveal my arms to show like spines, gecko hands, horns and shit on my face. Yes.
Nice. He kind of smiles up at you, and you can see he's like missing some teeth, and he's got scales down one side of his face. He's got big old fuzzy mutton chops and a big fuzzy head, and he's got like these floppy ears that are kind of sticking out the top. And he kind of he stomps his foot down, but it kind of slaps because it's a webbed duck's foot. He's all like, "It's nice to meet you. I'm Cyrus Bellevue."
Well, are we all Bellevues here?
Oh, well, all the people that are in our way, yeah.
Of course. Well, Cyrus, it's very good to meet you. You seem very well civilized.
Well, thank you. Have you tried the sandwiches?
I have not. Would you recommend them?
Absolutely. I made them all myself. I'm really good at it.
Well, I'm sure you are the best sandwich maker in town. Thank you, Cyrus. And I'll take it and just kind of eat it in front of him.
Yep. It's nice, actually. It's got cucumbers in it,
Yay.
which is something that you haven't tasted since the Dalelands. Like, you get the idea that there are no cucumbers in Barovia.
No, wouldn't think so. Cyrus, Sorry. This is incredible. Thank you. You truly are the best at what you do.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's really encouraging. I don't know how long it's been since I've heard an encouraging word.
Well, I will speak praise of these cucumber sandies for as long as I live.
And he just kind of gives you a wall-eyed stare, and he smiles at you.
Now, you had a question for me. What was that?
Yes. What's the occasion that brings everyone here?
Oh, well, we were all here last night too. But Strahd is the master. The master wants to speak with some guests. That's what it is.
All right. And everyone's just here to see our liege speak to some guests.
When the master invites you to a party, you gotta come. You do it.
Yes.
Come to the party.
Yes, I agree. As soon as you receive the invitation, you accept. Do not keep the mistress waiting.
Hey, you want to hear a joke?
I would love to hear a joke, Cyrus.
Where does the king keep his armies?
Where?
In his sleeveys!
And Kefris actually does, like, chuckle a little bit at Cyrus's joke. He loves shitty puns. And he will thank Cyrus for sharing with him not only the sandwich but a bit of good humor, and he understands Cyrus is a working Bellevue, so he will send him on his way. He doesn't want to keep him too long, get him in trouble.
All right, he does that. Who should we check on next? Bartholomew?
My sister.
Probably.
I can't see who you're pointing at. I'm watching you on the other one.
My sister.
Oh, I don't even know who I'm pointing at.
You're pointing at no
Oh,
one.
yours. Hold on. Is
Yes, that
way.
Both
That
of
way.
these.
two to the right. God. So right before we check on Silme, another guest is announced. And you hear Rahadin speak from the staircase. Announcing her ladyship, Baba Lysaga. And there is a buzzing sound as a cloud of flies just comes zooming up the stairs and kind of swirls in the air above the crowd for a bit, and then just into a just forms a pillar and then fills this throne that is surrounded by hags who all begin cackling and cheering. And a hunched crone appears in this swarm of flies, her gray hair pulled up in an elaborate braid. She's draped in a multitude of beads and talismans and raven skulls, and even as stooped as she is, she's a full head higher than anybody around her. And she will just kind of regard the room with a wrinkled, weathered, clawed hand, and will lower her head to speak conspiratorially to the hags.
Can I make a check to know if I know who this is?
Yes,
History.
please do.
Oh, that's good. Sorry, 17.
17. Baba Lysaga, you will remember, was actually mentioned to you by Rosalia, who she's basically who's in charge of all of these scarecrows wandering around. And she stole one of the stones from the winery.
Can I make a perception check if she's wearing one of the stones right now?
Sure.
Natural 20.
Nice. She is not. You are absolutely certain that she doesn't have any of the stones on her at this moment.
Cool. Carry on.
All right, Silme, what are you up to?
Silme is going to find a group, hopefully with a zombie in it, and find an opening to join the conversation.
All right.
And she gets a drink.
Okay. You will actually find a really kind of doe-eyed, innocent-looking girl. They're really huge, like baby blue eyes. She's wearing a nice purple gown, and with like kind of puffed up sleeves, and her dark brown hair is piled up on top of her head. And she just seems to be having a very involved conversation with a zombie that is trying to find an excuse to walk away from her. Though, like, he doesn't have, like, he can't really make any other expression other than, like, slack-jawed, cross-eyed drooling. But he will, like, try to walk away from her and she'll get in his way. And then he'll try to walk the other direction and she'll get in his way.
Is he speaking?
No.
Oh, okay. Silme will, if there is a gap in the conversation, I beg your pardon. I'm sorry. My name is Silme Malreska. This is my companion, Maybell.
Oh, hello there. My name is Gertruda.
Gertrude, is lovely to meet you. And who is your companion here?
Oh, he's not my companion, but I was just talking to him.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm very ignorant in these lands. Do zombies speak?
Oh, I don't think this one does, but he's a very good listener.
Lovely. And she'll motion to him, like, oh, it's lovely to meet you. Well,
he has slowly started to wander away from you guys, having found an out.
This is a very interesting gathering. I'm very eager to be involved in it.
Oh, yes. Isn't it all just so wonderful?
Yes. Do you live around here?
Oh, I'm actually a guest of Strahd right now.
That's wonderful.
I used to live down in the village of Barovia, but my mother never let me out. So I always dreamed of going up to the castle and meeting whatever handsome man might be up here.
Have you met Strahd?
Oh, yes. And it turns out she's actually a woman.
Yes. Okay. I didn't want to burst any bubbles. Oh, it seems to be a lovely evening. We are very apologetic about having kept everyone. Traveling these lands can be very treacherous.
Oh, that's what Mother always said. But I'm finding that it's actually quite wonderful out here.
Interesting. Have you found any strange? Well, everything here is a bit strange to me, not in a bad way. I find it very fascinating. Are there any things that I should keep an eye out for or know about?
Well, what are you talking about exactly?
Well, where I come from, there are our standard races are humans and half-elves and elves and dwarves and halflings and very rarely do we get anything like a drow or a high elf or anything.
Oh, yes. Mother said that they didn't exist.
Oh, well, I have seen them.
Wow, that's just amazing.
Is she actually interested in my conversation or is she bullshitting me?
What's your passive insight?
That's a good question. Passive insight is a 14.
14. All right. Your impression is that this is a very like she's an innocent little shut-in who's just like not wise to the ways of the world, and she's just experiencing everything for the first time, and it's just
so wonderful.
Well, there are very many creatures here that I'm not quite certain what they are, but if you wouldn't mind explaining it to me, that would be very lovely.
Oh, certainly. Well, who did you want to know about exactly?
She'll motion to like the vampire ladies and like the things that Silme wouldn't know from the real world.
Sure.
Sorry, not real world. That's very rude.
Yeah. She will explain to you that the vampires can be mean and a little bit catty, but Strahd has forbidden them from harming her. So like they know to behave themselves, but you know, that doesn't stop them from saying things behind her back, which she's used to. That's the way that the girls were back in the village.
Mm-hmm. And Silme will let her know that that's the way that most people are on the outside as well in high society.
Oh, I'm glad it's not just me.
No, I can tell you that pretty much anywhere you go, if people feel they can be better than you, they will act as such.
But not Strahd. She's so nice.
Oh, I don't know much about Straud beyond that she's the ruler of these lands in some way, and she has capabilities that are above and beyond most.
Oh, yes. She's a very powerful spellcaster.
Wonderful. What type of magic does she use? Do you know?
Oh, she can turn into a bat, and I've seen her turn into a dog.
Transmutation. Wonderful. I study a bit myself. I don't claim to be, the most knowledgeable, but I know of magic and its ways.
Are you a spellcaster as well?
I have been doing a lot of research into spellcasting. Did you say that she could transmute herself into animals? Is there anything else?
Oh, yes. She is a very accomplished wizard. I've seen her do all sorts of magic.
Oh, that's wonderful. Perhaps I could speak to her about that. I don't know what subjects to breach here, as people don't... anything I know of the outside land won't be very useful in conversation.
you are interrupted by Rahadin announcing another guest. Announcing Kirill Stoyanovich and company. Oh. And also announcing their newest member of the pack, Kellen. And you see a ragtag, disheveled bunch, like just a bunch of dudes just kind of bulging out of their suits. They're all dusty and torn, and they're all kind of like pulling at their collars and itching and just looking uncomfortable. And they're all just kind of hairy and a little like grumpy looking. And the Kirill appears to be the largest and hairiest of them all, and he's got a short, thick beard and a wild head of hair that he's just kind of fruitlessly slicked back. And when Rahadin announces Kellen, you see a little kid just like push his way between everybody's legs, and just like with his like hands out and like in claws, and he looks like he's been hopped up on all kinds of sugar before coming here. His hair is just in a rat's nest, and he might have been well dressed when he left the house today, but he's since pulled off his tie and lost his shoes.
Do you know them?
No, these guys are new.
And you see Kirill kind of, all right, go get him, champ. And he kind of like slaps Kellen on the back, and you watch that kid just sprint off into the crowd.
Interesting.
Speed gonna make himself scarce.
Silme will kind of motion down to her new friend. If you feel uncomfortable at any point, please seek me out. I don't mind a little company.
Oh, certainly. It's always nice to make a new friend.
It was lovely to meet you. Is there anyone else I should speak to here that you think I would gain knowledge from?
Oh, you should definitely meet Strahd's brides and consorts. They're such nice people.
I will do that. Thank you very much. Should I address them as the brides of Straud? Is that polite?
Oh, certainly. I'm sure they'll correct you if they don't want you to address them in any sort of way.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for all your assistance, and I hope to speak to you later.
Absolutely. That would be wonderful.
Goodbye, Gertruda.
Oh my! A scarecrow that walks on its own!
She goes and harasses him for a while.
Mabel, keep an eye on those boys if you don't mind.
Oh, which ones in Silme?
The ones that just came in.
Oh, the hairy motherfuckers, sure.
Mabel, we are in polite society.
Are we?
Well, let me dream, please. Let me dream. This is the most normal I've felt since we've got here.
Amazing. All right, Bartholomew, where are you headed off to?
Probably deeper into the crowd to avoid the big dudes.
Okay. All right. So you kind of like move off to the side to like, kind of be a wallflower, get away from the center of the room and not like draw as much attention. And you actually happen upon a puppet show where anybody who has thought to bring children or childlike entities to this party has kind of dropped them off to be entertained. And you can see that little terror Kellen is sitting in the front of the group and just kind of like watching this puppet show. And there are a couple of mongrel folk who were like in the middle of like moving things and have gotten distracted by the puppet show and are trying to like move slower to pretend like they're still working, but they just want to watch. And the puppet, it actually appears to be a half burned version of a masculine depiction of Strahd. And it's all like, blah, blah, blah.
Don't like that. Is it just doing that? Is there like no story going on, or?
Oh, there are
appears to be some sort of story, but like it appears that he's making it up on the spot, whoever is under there, and he seems to be in some sort of distress.
Don't make trouble, don't make trouble, don't make trouble, don't make trouble. He doesn't know what to do with his hands, so he puts it behind his back.
Nice. What's your passive perception?
16.
Okay. You hear a behind you.
Fuck. He turns his head slowly.
There is a big hairy man just kind of sniffing you. And when you turn around, he goes, "I don't like you."
I mean, is it the cologne or?
"You smell funny." "I don't know what it is." "Your dumb floof on your head."
I don't know how to take this. Bartholomew just like glares up at him. Ooh.
And he gets kind of bumped by one of his posse behind him. And the guy's like, "Remember, we're not supposed to cause trouble." And he's all like, yeah. And then he starts to walk away, but then he just turns around and sniffs one more time. And he's like, "Do I know you?"
I don't think so. I would remember someone who's like twice my size and 3 times as hairy.
"I still don't like you." And he just walks away.
Audible sigh, looks down further into the crowd, away from them.
It's kind of hard. They seem to have spread out.
Is there like a veranda area or like?
You'd have to kind of wander down a hallway to get to the veranda. And you've been advised against that.
Nope. I'm just gonna try and keep an eye on the dum-dums.
All right. You find yourself wandering back around to the punch bowl. And you get kind of nudged by the guy you gave the sandwich earlier. And he's like, "Hey, my name's Leaf Leipzig."
Bartholomew.
It's good to meet you. Yeah. Yep. And he kind of takes a sip of his punch. Yeah, I'm the accountant. I keep Strahd's books.
Insight check?
Yeah, sure.
This is how we get her, you guys. Tax fraud.
16.
He doesn't seem to be in any sort of position to lie. You can hear the clinking of the chain around his foot, and he's kind of like, "Yeah, they put the long leash on me for parties."
Sorry. That's very kind of them.
Are you he's just kind of like looking out into the crowd, just sort of watching to see if anybody's watching him say this. "You guys are you're looking for some things out there, right?"
How do you know that?
"That's what they're all doing.
Wait.
Outsiders for years, they're always looking for those things."
Can I make an inside check on his intent? Is it good?
Sure.
Is it
Yeah,
bad?
go for it. Go for it.
It's a 16 again.
All right. You get the idea that this is a guy who has very few ways to kick, like punch up at the man, and this is one of the ways he does it.
Yeah, we've been looking for something, yes.
All right. I know the location of one of the artifacts.
Speedy like forgot that about the punch, and he's about to take a sip, and he's like, "What?"
Yeah. And he kind of like tries to stifle his smile. And he just, yeah, yes, business numbers, boring things, as a mongrel folk walks by. All right. There's this wizard's tower at Lake Bartok. You're going to need to know the name of the wizard. It took me weeks, but I figured it out. It's Kazan.
Kazad.
That's right. You're going to find the holy symbol of Ravenkind.
That sounds very important, yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. I will take this information do it with what I need to do. We will definitely try and find this symbol of Ravenkind.
Yes. They never tell me anything. And I finally figured it out.
Yes, you have.
You're so kind, God. And he just looks really proud of himself.
I'm just going to extend a hand, pat his shoulder, and then continue off from the punch bowl.
Yeah. And then one of those hairy guys will kind of walk up to him and shove him aside and then just bury his face in the punch bowl, and you hear slurping. And he's just going to kind of stand there with his empty cup and look down at it and look at the guy and look down at it again. He's like, okay, I can wait.
Poor. Then walks away.
All right, there is another guest announced. Rahadin stands at the top of the stairs and says, announcing the esteemed brides of Strahd, Ludmila Vilasevic, Anastasius Korolova, Volenta Popovsky, and Escher. And you see 4 people mounting the stairs. The first, Ludmila Vilasevic, is the tallest of all of them. She is a woman with dark skin wearing a white gown, and she has long black hair pulled into braids that have been pulled back into kind of a ponytail type thing and held up with a jeweled headdress. And she just sort of regards the room with a meticulously neutral expression. And she kind of curtsies a little as she's introduced. And Anastasius is a man wearing a sharply tailored red suit with coattails and a bright red top hat. And he has a rose in his lapel. And he sort of is always looking down his nose at everybody and carrying himself like proud royalty. Volenta Popovsky is the shortest bride, and she is wearing a porcelain mask in the shape of a skull with golden horns that kind of curl off to the sides. She's wearing a gold dress, and she has short black hair. Her steps have sort of a youthful spring to them. And Escher, who sounded like an afterthought and sort of looks like an afterthought. He's a bit underdressed. He's got shoulder-length blonde hair, and he's just wearing these open purple robes, and the top few buttons of his shirt are undone. And his exposed throat is laden down with a bunch of golden necklaces and chains, and each of his fingers is sporting a ring. And he's just kind of like swaggering around looking, like he just thinks he's the bee's knees. And he's actually, like, as soon as everybody is introduced, he just kind of beelines through the crowd and looks around for anyone he doesn't recognize. And I don't know, everybody roll a d20. Just flat.
3.
Tell me what you get.
12.
5.
5. All right. The lucky man, Kefris. Escher is just going to walk right on up to you, and he's all like, "Hey there, sweetie pie.
Ooh, hello.
What do I gotta do to get a taste of you tonight?"
Well, first, you can slow your roll. I'm not exactly sure. You're very kind.
As soon as he realizes this isn't working, he's like, all right. And he just walks past you, and you hear him speaking to the next souled human that he can find. He's like, hey there, sweetie pie. What do I gotta do to... And he continues through the party in such a manner.
You catch eyes with Silme, and she gives you this look that's like, yeah, now you know how it feels.
I never doubted you. Not once.
Escher starts walking towards Silme, and he just sees the look in her eye, and he's like, all right. He just
No.
walks away.
If he heads towards Silme looks at Maybelle, gives her the, just let it go look, like she's done this many a times.
Oh, okay.
She is ready to play this out.
Maybelle gives you like a concerned look and quirks her eyebrow like, here? All right. Hey there, sweet cheeks. What do I gotta do to get a taste of you tonight?
Silme kind of like, she can blush on command, and she does. And she kind of whips out a fan out of nowhere and like starts fanning herself. I'm sorry. I didn't catch your name as you came in.
Oh, there are people who call me Escher.
What a lovely name. Are you from these lands?
Oh, yeah. Barovian born and raised, baby.
Wow. I'm from the Dale lands.
Damn. A Dale lands damsel.
I heard you were a bride of Strahd. Or a companion.
A consort, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yep.
Well,
I'm one of her most favored consorts.
Oh, I bet you are. You seem young and spry. I don't wish to... and she kind of starts looking around a little, like she looks like she's a little nervous. Like, I don't wish to upset the apple cart. I'm not certain that
I'll upset your apple cart, baby.
I like that you thought of it, had a reaction to it, and then you had to say it. No, I just mean, I'm not, I don't know the customs of these lands. I don't want to upset Straud, obviously, by speaking to you in such a manner.
You know what? You talk to Strahd, and then afterwards, what happens is just between you and me.
Well then, I will speak to you later, Escher.
What was your name?
Oh, I'm Silme Melrezka.
Nice to meet you, Silme Melrezka. And he kind of walks away, walks backwards a little bit, takes an apple off of a tray and then just bites into it, and then he will disappear.
Silme turns, she's doing the, oh, I'm so, this is so exciting, turns to Maybelle and immediately goes, well, that gives us an in for information.
I'm going to vomit.
Sorry. It was so easy. Men are so easy to manipulate.
Oh, Silme.
I'm sorry. I've had a lot of practice, you know this.
Yes, I know.
Oh, stop. And she kind of like touches her under the chin and touches her nose, and it's all right. I only have eyes for you, you know that.
Yes.
I'll show you later. And then
There
she
is
walks
not
away.
there is like not a murderous bone in her body, but you know that she would kill.
Wait, me or
Someone would die.
yeah, someone would die. Yeah, yep, Sylvie walks away. Expecting Mabel to follow.
Yes, she comes.
I think I'd like to find Speedy at this point.
All right.
Just shuffle over to Speedy. Bartholomew. She leans in. What have you found out?
Oh, you're a little bit.
You're a little
Sorry.
bit.
There's a
Lady
girl on
Nebraska.
Xbox Live.
There's a girl
Is this
on
a real gamer girl? Well, I met with Strahd's accountant.
That makes sense.
He knows where the Amulet of Ravenkind is, and he told me.
Wait, that's the one we have, isn't it?
Yes, it's the one we have.
Right.
I didn't have the heart to tell him that we already have it. He was very eager about decoding everything.
Silme takes a look around. Is anyone taking interest in our conversation?
Perception, please.
Bartholomew isn't speaking conspiratorially. He's like,
Silme is. Speaking low. Sorry. 18.
Nice. So you can just kind of cast your eyes across the crowd. And at any given moment, there's always someone with at least a passing interest in you. But it doesn't seem that anyone is eavesdropping.
Okay. Perhaps we should keep conversation to the now and not mention such things in Strahd's mansion. I'd hoped to have an inn with one of her consorts.
I don't like the way you said that. 1. 2, we are not staying long enough for you to consort with the consort.
Look, I can find out information, put him to sleep, and then he can think whatever he wants to think.
We do the night, and then we leave. As soon as possible.
You don't want to find out any information?
Find out information in the now. Don't schedule anything past what we need to do.
Fine, then don't stand by the punch bowl like the help. She gives him an eye and then
I am the help. He's like, he eyes her back as he walks away. Yeah, no. Speedy does not know what to do with his hands. Like, they keep on going to his short sword. But they keep on going it's like, no, can't stab anyone.
No?
No, pockets. I don't have pockets.
All right. Is there anything else that you want to try to accomplish, Kefris?
No, not particularly. I have spoken with some Bellevues. If there was a puppet show, I have curiosities about it.
Mm-hmm.
As going over. Do I recognize the voice of the puppeteer?
You never actually met the person you're thinking about, so no.
That's fair. Can I speak loudly near it?
To accomplish...
To accomplish saying, I would love to get a puppet like that, if I could, but it seems that the puppet maker hasn't been in his home for the last several days. And then kind of leans in near the puppet. Would you know anything about that, my smart, intelligent puppet friend?
A man in a jester's hat pops out, grabs you by the ascot and says, "Help me."
Okay.
And he pokes back in there and just continues the puppet show.
And Kefris will kind of crawl in the back with him and put puppets on his hands as well.
God.
And he pokes them up so that way it's a little puppet show with the Toymaker. What happened? Why is your house boarded up? We saved your monkey, I think.
You got Piccolo?
Is that his name?
Is he okay?
I may have squeezed him a little hard. He's fine, but he's safe. Is the important part.
Okay, good.
Oh no.
Boo, 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 boo. I'm
I'd
going
like to think
suck your blood.
the conversation's happening, but they're mouthing the words they're saying.
To each other.
You can't help it. As soon as you start, it's really just kind of tactile after that point.
Kellen's just like watching with his eyes furrowed, and he's like, I don't understand this.
Have at you! Oh, look, we're just a bunch of outsiders. No way we could ever withstand the powers of Strahd.
Blah, blah, blah. My name is Straud, and I always win.
Oh, no!
Yay! God. I will kidnapped.
I will do the best that we can. Hopefully, they just release you when they release us.
I sure hope so.
I really hope so, too. Children need toys.
Now get out of here before someone sees you.
You betcha! And just slink
Tuck
out.
and roll.
Yep. I'm just
imagine
kind
you,
of,
like-
as I pop up, Cyrus, another one of those sandwiches would be absolutely marvelous, and just walk away from that area.
Amazing. Yes, and that is Glinsky the Toymaker. The poor guy seems to have been stolen away from his home. And at that moment, there is another announcement, and the entire crowd goes quiet for this one. It's like he doesn't really need to even say anything. There is just two figures that have mounted up the stairs, and Rahadin will look across the crowd, and everybody just goes quiet. And he says, announcing the Baroness of Barovia, Lady Strahd von Zarovich, and her guest, Ismark Kolyanovich. And everybody bows in silence to her. Straud has long black hair, a sharp widow's peak, pale skin. She's in a fashionable high-collared cape with red lining, and a vest with a red ascot. She has white billowing sleeves that are cinched at the wrists. On her arm is a handsome, if haggard-looking young man. He's nicely dressed with a blue vest and a flowing white shirt. However, he has dark circles under his eyes and a sallow, blank expression. Ismark looks very sickly. And let's go on our break.
Oh boy, so I'd like to say thank you to everybody for sticking with us so far. We hit 370 followers on Twitch on this episode, which was pretty cool to see. At 400, we are going to try and do something real special. I don't know what it'll be yet, but it gives me time to think about it. But don't let me have time to think about it. You should hit that sub button, or possibly go and support us on patreon.com/indooradventures. There's a link to it in the chat below. But we are going to try and be back in 5 to 10 minutes, so don't go no place unless it is to grab a food, grab a drink, grab a friend, or possibly leave us a review on either the audio cast or the video cast. I love being able to see people tweeting at us from during the show. It makes this entire thing really enjoyable, even in post. And also, if you feel like supporting the show in more than just either subs, follows, or any of that, consider going to bit.ly/adventuremerch. Pick yourself up something nice. But we are going to try and be back shortly, so don't go no place. All right, everybody. Bye-bye! Hello, everybody, and welcome! Strahd and Ismark have just arrived, wearing the most beautiful gowns and suits. The red carpet in Barovia today sure is fucking filled with terrorists. Today, take us away.
All right, let's do this. So Strahd and Ismark had just been announced when we last left off. And as they are standing there in relative silence, from somewhere deep within the castle, you will hear an organ strike a chord, and then it starts playing a waltz. And Rahadin will say, "The Lady Strahd now invites her guests to join her on the dance floor." And she takes Ismark out into the middle of the floor as the crowd begins to part and form a wide circle around them. and she begins to dance with Ismark. And then her brides and consorts will all kind of form up in a circle around her. And she basically hands them off and then dances with another bride or consort, and then hands them off and dances with another one. And you are welcome to join in the dance. And it is, as Rahadin said, you are magically aware of what all the steps are, but it is entirely your choice as to whether or not you do that.
Speedy's gonna join, and if it's like one of those dances where you're handing people off, he's gonna try to make his way to Ismark in the dance.
Go ahead.
Yep, go ahead.
Silme's 100% in.
All
She'll
right.
start with Maybell.
Okay, absolutely.
Was expressed that the dance, although presented as an option, was not optional if we wish to be safe while we were here. It's like when your mom asks if you can do the dishes. It's not asking about your physical capabilities. You're doing them. So Kefris is just going to pair off with the first person that he sees who's looking to dance. And he's going for it.
Yep, you pair off with Escher first.
Oh,
because
do
of
I?
course.
I let him know I'm a Bellevue.
He gives you a fanged smile and he's all like, "I don't judge." Yeah, and this is the sort of dance where there is a leader and a follower, and Strahd is always the leader. But you do eventually wind up dancing with each person involved. So let me know who you're interested in, and I will let you know how that goes. I know Speedy's interested in dancing with Ismark.
Strahd.
Okay.
I would also like to dance with Ismark.
All right. And what is this like? Are you trying to talk to him, or?
Speedy gives him a once-over. Like, physically he's fine, like, he's not fine.
Either a medicine or an insight check. He is just kind of staring off into the middle distance. He doesn't look you in the eye.
Second natural 20.
Nice. He is clearly under some sort of enchantment. He look. What are you doing? An insight or a medicine here?
Either or. Well, no. Medicine right now.
You're doing medicine?
Mm-hmm.
All right. He is pale and sickly, and you feel that there is some level of starvation here. It looks like he hasn't been eating. He's just kind of sallow, and if he wasn't under an enchantment, he would probably be fainting.
I'll say his name once to see if I can get his attention.
Okay. His eyes kind of flutter a little bit. And he just kind of looks at you with a confused expression as he is handed off to someone else.
Shit. Okay.
You dance with Strahd, Silme.
I, of course, do a grand curtsy when I am first offered to her, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I take the Raven position, right? Lark and Raven?
Lark is left, Raven's right.
Yeah, so the Raven position. So I'm the female.
All right. How very Barovian.
I don't need the magic, bitch. I got this.
She kind of basically interrupts the dance a little bit. As she is dancing with you, she's just sort of looking off into the crowd. You can, now that you are close to her,
Mm-hmm.
you can see that she is barely touched by age. There's just some wrinkles in the corners of her eyes and around her mouth and up on her forehead. She can't be older than 50. And she is a very darkly handsome lady. And as the part of the dance comes where she's supposed to hand you off to the next person, she just sort of twirls you and gives a glance at the bride that came up to like take over, and that bride just like realizes what that means immediately and turns off and goes and grabs somebody else. And she holds you for another dance, and she says, "It's very good to finally see you, Silme."
Thank you very much for inviting us to your beautiful castle.
I've been waiting a long time to meet you. And she will hand you off to the next person. And Kefris, you are swept into the dance with Ismark. What are you doing?
I am just going to find a choice moment and basically, if I get to him at first, is he still kind of like not like kind of on the teeters of the enchantment?
He still seems enchanted, but it's no longer like like robotic, like I'm doing whatever I'm told. He looks confused.
And I will look eyes with him if I can, and just say, "She's safe."
And there is a look of realization in his face, and you see his mouth form the word Irina, and he is swept off again.
Okay.
And the music swells. There is one last twirl, and the three of you are actually twirled towards Strahd, and she puts her hands out and gives a bow to the crowd, just kind of presenting you all.
I will curtsy deeply.
Bows.
I'm probably a little dizzy from getting spun around, so I'm just doing a light bow to maintain my footing.
Kefris is used to standing still for most of these dances.
Yep.
At this point, Rahadin kind of steps out into the middle of the crowd, and Strahd has just swept her cape, and she's started walking towards the stairs. And he says, Strahd's guest will now join her for dinner. Everyone who has been invited to the dinner party portion of the evening is invited to join her downstairs in the dining hall.
I will wait for an escort to take me down there.
I shoot the Malreska and Bellevue a look. Like, be careful.
Of course. She gives him a... Of course. I've got this. Look.
I don't like that look.
And Kefris gives you a very wholehearted, "Thanks for the reassurance. Like, I kind of need it right now."
All right. Strahd goes downstairs. Ismark still on her arm. Her brides form up behind her, and they will sort of trail down the stairs. And there is a small procession going back down the stairs, across the lobby, and to the right. Meanwhile, the organ had reached a swell at the end of the waltz and then started playing a softer, kind of more conversational tune. Excuse me. Like just quieter so that like people can, start murmuring to each other again and just like start basically packing up and heading out. You see Baba Lysaga turn back into a swarm of flies and head on out. Pretty much anybody who would be eating is going to be staying. A lot of the vampire spawn are kind of skipping out because they, are going to go find their sustenance elsewhere. And you are led into the dining room, and you are placed on either side of the head of the table where Strahd sits, and Ismark is seated at the other end of the table with the brides, who all just kind of flock around him like a bunch of lounging alley cats, I want to say. And he just kind of sits and stares down at an empty plate, and they all just kind of lean against him and regard you guys with kind of a mischievous stare.
We sit.
Mm-hmm.
We sit when everybody else sits, right?
Oh, I thought she said
Okay,
they
cool. Still freaked out that we're having dinner at a table with Strahd.
Mm-hmm. And then the dinner is served, soup is brought out, and you see a bowl plunked down in front of Ismark, and he just makes no move to partake in it. What you have in front of you seems to be some sort of like cold soup made with a watermelon sort of. It's watermelon with like some seafood in it. It's very exotic, very much something you couldn't get a hold of in Barovia.
Sounds delicious. Is it delicious?
It is quite delicious if you partake in it.
They would be rude not to partake in it.
Yep.
Silme drinks.
Mm-hmm.
I wait for the lady to do everything first to make sure, because I really don't remember the way this works. She's the head of the table.
She is always given a plate when every course comes out, but she will take just kind of like a polite taste of it and then put it down and then continue to drink out of a goblet of red liquid.
Good, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Totally normal.
Mm-hmm. Is there a chance? How many people are here?
This is a much more intimate setting. There is one large, long table. There is Straud, your party, the brides, and Ismark at the other end of the table. And in between is just kind of a smattering of guests. It seems that Kirill Stoyanovich has been invited to this, and he just kind of like, with like the soup gets put down in front of him, and he just, and it's like gone. It seems that he had his kid sent home, and he's only got like 2 of his posse on either side of him.
Is polite conversation a thing that's happening?
Quietly, yes.
Okay. Silme will speak quietly to the person next to her if it's not Kefris, and just try to be as polite as possible regarding how delicious the soup is or how wonderful the cutlery is.
Mm-hmm. You're sitting next to Maybelle, and she's able to reciprocate that sort of conversation, which I assume means that Kefris and Bartholomew are sitting together. How does dinner go for them?
Quietly.
So quiet. So quiet.
There is the eye flicks towards like the door, any windows, outs, basically.
No windows. There is an enormous organ at the back of the room, at which there is actually a masculine illusion of Strahd playing.
Oh, yeah.
Is he hot? Sorry.
Yeah, kind of. Nothing compared to the real thing.
I am going to just be getting a scope. Like, was there a strategery to their sitting? Were they placed in a specific way? Or like where we sat was just we found an available seat at the table?
There were reserved spots.
Okay. Who were sitting in the
names and such.
reserved spots?
Who was sitting at the reserved spots?
Yes.
Everyone. Everybody had their own reserved seat.
There's little name cards.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Oh, look, there's little drawing on us. That's so sweet.
Your card, Kefris says Kefris, Lord Kefris Malrezka, but it has been crossed out, and there is a little scrawled shaky hand that has written out Bellevue instead of Malreska in the back.
I hope that wasn't Glinsky. Oh. Fuck me running. That's right. Speedy.
I'd rather not.
Speedy. No. Look. I found Glinsky.
Was I told he was missing?
Yes, I told everybody the Toymaker was not there. That's why we showed up at your house very late in the evening with a fucking monkey.
What the fuck is Glinsky doing here?
He was running the puppet show.
Oh. I walked past that.
You didn't think to yourself who in their right mind is running a puppet show for Strahd?
There's children here. They're supposed to be entertained. Sorry.
Okay.
Right, we found Glinsky.
We found Glinsky. Hopefully they let him go. He's actually not really a bad fellow. Little misdirected, but not bad.
Bellevue, I'm going to tell you now. Glinsky is the least of our concerns. On the priority list, it is us and Ismark, and then Glinsky is somewhere at the bottom.
Well, I would say that's fine. Watermelon soup.
Brother.
What's a watermelon?
Outside spoon.
Right. Kefir sets the spoon he was using down very quickly, grabs the other that he's supposed to be using to drink the watermelon soup.
Amazing.
Speedy, don't put your pinky up.
No, he's taking a drink.
Oh, nope, you tuck your fingers in.
Tuck fingers in?
Everything is contained.
Yeah, it is.
Maybelle will likewise help micromanage everyone's manners a little bit. Though she does so in a much more, she doesn't necessarily whisper, she just tries to, get people's attention and then show them what they should do.
Mm-hmm.
She's very animated throughout the entire dinner. The soup is taken away, and then salad is brought out. It's got pecans and cranberries and a nice vinaigrette. The pecans are candied with tomatoes. And then the salad course is over, and then the main dish is brought out. And you have a choice of either fish or veal.
What the fuck is veal?
Oh, you should have it if you haven't had it before. It's lovely.
I was going to try and scoop some candied pecans into off the table and store them in my pocket, if I could.
You can, totally.
Sweet. That was it. I'll have it was veal and what all?
Fish.
I know what you're going. I know where you're going with that, and that's fucking adorable.
I will have the fish.
All right.
We'll also have the fish.
Everything is delicious. And then dessert is served, which is a absolutely sinful chocolate cake.
What the fuck is chocolate?
You find out.
You haven't had chocolate?
I haven't had a lot of things, Malreska.
You are in for an amazing treat.
I again try and store some chocolate cake in my pocket.
Oh.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Gross.
It's their new clothes. There's only a mild amount of lint.
Amazing. At some point during the night,
handkerchief
Kefris, Cyrus, who is the cook, will notice you squirreling food away into your pockets, and he will come up behind you and kind of poke a little doggy bag, just like a little bento box wrapped with a handkerchief, and give that to you and just give you a little.
Thank you so much.
Smile.
This is. I'm afraid half the people here don't really appreciate everything that they're getting, but this is incredible, Cyrus. You're doing great.
He just looks really excited. Yeah. Anything for Philip Bellevue. He just kind of bows, backing his way out. And at some point during dessert, folks are bringing in a digestive in little flutes, something that seems yellow and looks like a limoncello. And Strahd will stand up and kind of brush off her ascot and say, I would like to speak to each of you individually. Who would like to go first?
Is she motioning to us or everyone?
She is definitely looking at you guys, her guests.
I look to Kefris, because he is the Lord.
I'll raise my hand and acknowledge. I'll do it. My lady, and he'll give a gratuitous bow.
Very well. Bellevue, is it now?
It is, your grace.
Interesting.
It would seem that my affliction is shared amongst the people of the land, so I have decided to share in their titles.
What did the abbot have to say to convince you of that?
I offered, your grace.
Very interesting. Walk with me, Bellevue.
Kefris will he'll keep his, he so desperately wants to bring the doggy bag full of food with him, but he keeps it. He makes sure that it's stayed where it is, and he will put his hands behind his back, and he will stand up at Strahd's behest. He will get up and join.
If he makes eyes at Silme, Silme is going to... She gives him a strong nod, but you can see that she is putting... This is a front that you have seen a lot, and she is clearly concerned under all of the politeness that is going on.
He wasn't going to look at you.
That's fine.
All he was going to do was kind of have his head down and very quickly, very quietly, I love you, sister. And then stand and go.
As she walks by Ismark's chair, she just kind of puts a hand on it briefly. And this is a very subtle but very possessive gesture. And she continues walking. She has she brings her goblet with her, and she just kind of goes walking down the halls of the castle. And she says, have no concerns, so long as you're with me, you'll be safe.
Well, I take that in confidence, your grace.
You impress me, Kefris.
How so, my grace? Not to sound conceited, just sheer curiosity.
The people look at you in fear and hatred, and all you want to do is help them. That's more than I can say, but of course they saw me that way long before I started drinking blood.
Thank you, your grace.
Barovia could use more holy people. There aren't many real ones left. What I'm saying is, if you choose to stay here in my lands, there will be a place for you. You could stay at the Abbey with your new little family and take whatever charity case comes your way. God knows I'm not going to. Give them whatever comforts your God can offer them.
Thank you, your grace.
I know that you're just being polite. I will give you an opportunity to speak with the rest of your party. And you don't have to give me an answer now. But I will be watching you and your actions. It'll be pretty clear whether or not you are willing to abide by my wishes.
Thank you, Your Grace. I do have an answer already, but I appreciate that you would give me such time.
Well, give your companions a chance to consider. And as she says this, you realize that she has actually just led you in a big circle, and you are back at the dining room.
Thank you, Your Grace.
And she will just kind of walk over to the table and say, next.
Silme will rise. And curtsy. Take her hand if she offers it?
Absolutely. Her hand is cold, but she holds your hand in a very warm and motherly way. And she will lead you down the halls, and she will kind of contemplatively sip at her goblet and say, you know, you remind me a lot of myself when I was young.
Oh?
Yes. A brilliant young lady who only wants to settle down with the woman she loves, jerked this way and that by the machinations and politics of nobility.
She kind of smiles and raises her brows as in a affirmation.
I worry for you, Silme.
Why is that?
I could send you home, but I don't think that would be good for you. What would you have to go back to? Your mother, your betrothed? Do you really think anyone there is going to truly accept you?
Mother was always stuck in her ways, and I'd never met the man that we were going to go meet, so I cannot speak of him. But I understand my place in society. And
Silme. Arranged marriages? What a drag.
it is what it is, unfortunately, where I come from.
Silme, I could do so much better for you. I could offer you knowledge, power, a safe place where you could study whatever you want and love whoever you choose without anyone shouting you down or telling you what you can't do. I only want for you to have the happy ending that was stolen from me.
If you don't mind, I know that we are new to these lands. We've only been here less than a 10-day. I would love to learn of the history of these lands. They're fascinating to me. The barrier that holds this world where it is, all of those things.
Yes. I conquered these lands long ago. It is not a thing that people believe a woman could do, and so the stories go that Lord Strahd von Zarevich blazed through this valley and cut down those who came before.
But how did you make it a demi-plane? How is that possible?
That perhaps is a story for another day. Though I admire your curiosity.
My apologies. I haven't had much time to my studies since I've been here.
Well, maybe it's time for a few history lessons. And you find yourself back in the dining room. And Kefris and Speedy, if you wanted to have a scene while they were gone, let me know, because we'll resolve that now.
How did it go?
I'm alive, so better than expected.
Good.
Yes. She offered me something. I'm not going to take it, obviously, but there was an offer. I don't know what she'll say to you. She told me that she would give, whether myself or hopefully she said the same to Silme, but that there would be time to discuss the offer.
We have to hear what she has to say. We'll reconvene.
Yes. Speedy.
Yeah.
You should probably leave your weapons.
I was planning on it.
Okay. I know that you are definitely a dagger in the boot kind of fellow, so while we still have the time, that would probably be best to show that you are not interested in harming the one person that we need to feel unthreatened.
Kefris, I may be a lot of things, but
Not stupid.
exceedingly stupid.
Oh.
Exceedingly stupid is not one of them.
I don't think you're stupid at all. In any regard. You're foolhardy or brash. You get the job done. It's not idiocracy, it's courage.
It's a very fine tightrope.
Speedy. Idiocracy is a state of being, courage is an emotion. You are courageous. You've got this.
Speedy nods his head.
As you're speaking, you realize that Kirill Stoyanovich will basically down his digestive and stand up, and he's like, all right, I'm out of here. And his bodyguards will basically form up on him, and he just kind of walks out. And throughout these conversations with Strahd, people begin to filter out of the room. Including the brides, all except for one, the one with the dark skin and the white dress. And she just kind of sits next to Ismark and it appears that it's her job to keep an eye on him for now. And she's just kind of like sitting at the table and boredly like flicking a fork with her finger. You can hear it going twang, twang, twang. And Strahd and Silme will return.
Silme curtsies as she leaves the ladies' side.
When he's addressed, Bartholomew stands, unclasps his short sword, crossbow, puts them on the table. You hear the as the silver dagger comes out. It goes on the table.
Bartholomew is actually never addressed.
Ah. Sweet. Cool. Suck it, Kefris.
That's whatever, man.
But does he like give a look as though he kind of expects to be spoken to?
When Strahd walks in, nothing said. Small eyebrow raise, but a very
She kind of walks by you, and as soon as you cork that eyebrow, she just stops, and then she turns around, she looks at you. I'm sorry. Did you think I would want to speak to you?
in his head. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. Turns his head, looks forward.
Are you the help or are you not? Husk. Your blood isn't even worthy to wet my lips.
Maintain the soulless stone face gaze.
She just kind of looks at him up and down. And as he does not respond, that sudden turn just kind of melts away, and she walks back to her seat. And she'll just stand at the head of the table. I gathered you here as an olive branch. There can be peace between us, but only under two circumstances. In the first circumstance, you step out this door and you step into the carriage with the black horses waiting for you outside, and the Vistani will escort you out of Barovia, and you will never return. The other circumstance is you choose to stay here with me. Now, you don't have to live in the castle, of course. You can do whatever you want, so long as you don't interfere with my plans. And you will know very quickly if you are interfering. Am I understood?
Silme will curtsy deeply. I wish to learn more of these lands. If it please you, I will remain with my companion.
I'm very glad to hear that.
However long it takes, I will see to it that I help the people of this land. Whether it be from the church, whether it be from the village, whether it be from the vineyard, I will make sure that these people are protected.
Those are very carefully chosen words.
They are. Because as much as I would like to accept your offer, I cannot in good faith. The purpose of faith is to find the gray line, to not take one side, to believe in a truth. I believe that this place is a version of a truth, possibly the version of your truth. But there are many people here who, as you said, you would not wish to address. They are not worth your time. But they are worth mine.
Oh, this is going to be fun. Do as you please, Bellevue. I'm going to enjoy killing you. And she stands up and begins to walk out of the room. As promised, you may leave with Ismark unharmed. But I warn you, if you cross my threshold again uninvited, I will break the seals on my vaults, the crypts will be opened, and an army of vampire spawn will descend on the villages of Barovia. The streets will be purified by their blood, and they will not stop until every living soul is dragged into my plane of death, where they will scream for all eternity. That will be on your hands, and I will savor every moment of it. Thank you for joining me. And she will just burst into a swarm of bats, and they will screeching sweep themselves up into a cloud and then leave. And as though on cue, Rahadin will step around the corner and say, I believe you have been dismissed by my lady.
It would appear so.
Speedy has gotten up, walked over to Ismark, arm over the shoulder, if he can't walk.
He stands, still in the trance, and just follows you in with slow, measured movements.
I have my little goodie bag.
Where is Ismark in relation to like where everyone else is sitting? Like, is he like on the side Kefris is or the side Silme is?
Are you talking about at the dinner
At
table?
the dinner table, yeah.
He was all the way on the other side of the table. It was a long table, and Straud was at the head of one, and Ismark was at the head of the other. And Straud was surrounded by you guys, and he was surrounded by the brides and escorts.
When Speedy passes by Kefris, he could hear like the audible grinding of teeth.
Yes, he can.
As you are walking out, you see Escher just kind of leaned up against the door frame, and he gives Silme an eye.
Silme will slide up to him casually, thwarp out her fan. I'm sorry, it seems we've been dismissed. Perhaps you can find me another time?
Oh, how unfortunate. And he will lean in really close, and you can feel his breath against your neck. And he says, when can I see you again?
Well, you are... Is he a lord? Would he have a title?
He was introduced as Escher. He was introduced as and Escher.
Okay. And that's true. Peggy, she's gonna, knowing that she outranks him, can I call upon you at a certain time? Would that be appropriate?
Oh, I might come calling on you.
That sounds lovely. Please give me a heads up. Being in the village, it's quite casual.
Casual's my middle name. And Maybelle will actually come up to you and very forcefully take your arm.
She'll give him a little finger wave and slide on out of there.
And he kind of bears his fangs in a big grin at Maybelle, and she will return that grin with a grimace. And while he has only 2 fangs, her entire mouth is just like shark teeth. She's just like...
That's right.
Okay, anything else as you guys are walking out?
No, but as soon as we get to like the doors of the carriage being open, Silme's going to take her fan and strike her brother in the shoulder with it and get in the carriage.
He gets inside.
Actually, Speedy's going to like pinch Silme's arm, pinch Kefris's arm as he's like walking past them.
Ow!
You should have took the out. And he climbs the carriage.
And Kefris is just like 1,000 yards staring, like probably feels the pinch, but he's not going to react to it at all.
All right. Rahadin stands in the doorway until you all have left. And you can feel as though you have basically, when you reach the threshold of the drawbridge, you can feel like almost like a magical membrane wash over you. And you know that you in particular, Silme, know that Strahd has sensed your departure. And as you are driving the carriage away from Castle Ravenloft, where are you going?
Boom.
Oh, it's a good-
Jeeps.
We didn't think there was going to be an ending to this. How far are we away from Valaki?
2 hours.
Roughly.
How late is it?
It is quite late. It is, well, it's going to be sunrise in 3 or 4 hours.
We should get Ismark home.
As much sunrise as you guys get. Yeah. And as you pass through that membrane, Ismark will actually just faint and fall on whoever's next to him.
Ah!
We don't need to take Ismark home. We need to take Ismark where it's safe.
He is the burgomaster.
I was saying, my home.
He might be the burgomaster, but right now, I've seen tougher scarecrows.
Fair enough.
He needs to be healed first. It's not even a day journey to get back to Barovia.
To Valaki.
As you're having this conversation, Bartholomew, you smell smoke.
I turn my head to wherever it's coming from.
It's coming from sort of the southeast. You actually smell a lot of smoke. And as the carriage turns a corner around a hatchback going down the mountain, you come to the place where you are able to see the village of Barovia. Normally, when it's this dark, you wouldn't be able to see it except for maybe a few lights in some windows. But Barovia is actually lit in a hellish glow as all of the buildings are on fire and just burned down to skeletal coals. And
sorry.
The entire village is just absolutely demolished and in flame.
We need to go to Valaki.
This is what you're dealing with.
We need to go to Valaki.
And the horses turn east with a new purpose. And as you travel towards Valaki, you can see that there are pillars of smoke coming from the west as well. And that is where we're leaving off tonight.
I hate it. I hate it so much. Thank you for running this game. I am so stressed. Ooh-wee! Danae, where can we find you? What do you do? So that way I don't leave menacing threats in our Curse of Strahd chat.
My name is Danae Keener. You can find me at DanaeKeener.com. I do nerdy drawings mostly related to D&D. You can also find me on Twitter at Danae Keener. If you need to know how to spell that, then go and check out the Twitch stream because it's right there on the overlay. DanaeKeener.com.
Hey everybody, I'm RJ. You can catch me at RJustice too on Twitter and Twitch, where I'm going to angrily tweet at Danae later on tonight. Catch me on Monday as Kalen, the Shatterkai Cleric, where things are just as bad. Tuesday here as Bartholomew, Speedy, Ranger. And over on Sundays with LBHackEmUp, I'll be at Pro Restart's channel, 8 p.m. EST, where we play a game using the Cypher system. Bleh. Phase. I'm a robot with issues as well. It's just a bad yes overall. I'm also helping out at Open for Adventures channel. Yeah.
Hi, I'm LBHackEmUp. I've had a week. It's been a week. And I'm adopting kittens out this weekend. So, on an emotional roller coaster. Thanks, everyone. I'm not going to pimp out your stream or your shit this week, Danae. But you can find me here Mondays and Tuesdays. Normally, you can find me on Damn It Bear's channel on Wednesdays. But the Hype Goblin's coming tomorrow. And I don't know if I'm going to be emotionally ready to see her. Sunday, you can find me on Pro's channel. Next week, Sunday, you can find me on G Game Nights with a K. I'm gonna go drink more.
Which just leaves me. Hey buddy, how's it going? If you've made it this far, you probably already know who I am, but if you don't, it's me, your buddy, your pal, your friend, the Indoor Adventurer, the showrunner here at twitch.tv/Indoor Adventures, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and occasionally on Saturdays at 11 a.m. for now. I recently got a new job, so my work schedule will vary as to when that fourth day sneaks in there, but we are still going to try and deliver that content to you guys. All of our shows go on onto a YouTube at youtube.com/indooradventures, or any of the podcasts that you usually go to find audio casts. Places you can find us by the same moniker. Feel free to leave us a comment or a review. Let us know how we're doing. I love reading them. We also have a Patreon set up. So if you go to patreon.com/indooradventures, you can possibly join in to get the rule set for Ordstone. As I continue to develop it, there will be an after show that you gain access to called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from each other, but also from the community at large. And motherfucker, I have questions this week. I have so many goddamn comments and concerns. Mostly concerns. But we're going to be going into that. Danae, thank you once again for running such an incredible game for all of us. Thank you to RJ and LB for joining us on this spookiest of Tuesdays. And we will see all of you guys next time. All right, everybody. Bye-bye!